everyone, I'm here today to talk to you about how to multiply a binomial by a binomial. So far we have multiplied monomials by monomials, we have multiplied monomials by binomials, monomials by polynomials, but we haven't done anything that looks like this, where we're taking one binomial, so a polynomial that has two terms, and then multiplying it by another polynomial that has two terms. So you might be saying like, wow, it kind of looks familiar. So if we think about this, we've done problems that maybe look like this, where we would have to take that 3, trying to get my fingers out of the way, that 3 and distribute it to 2x, and then 3 and then distribute it to that 4. So we've done problems like that. So what we're doing now is we're introducing just another term. But we also have to distribute that x to the 2x and then to the 4, just like we did with the 3. So sometimes we can forget to maybe do all of the multiplying necessary. So this acronym of FOIL comes into play, and it helps us remember the steps that we need to do. And what I mean is this. So each letter means something. So F is going to stand for first. So it's going to help us remember that we first need to multiply the first terms within the polynomial. So if I look at this, not this one, if I look at this, I'm talking about x and 2x. Those are like the first two terms. So I'm going to take x and I'm going to multiply it by 2x. So what we did is these two first terms are going to get multiplied together. Then we have O, and O is going to stand for the outside. So we're going to look at what we would say the outside terms in our polynomial. So x and 4 would be considered the outside, right? So this is on the outer side, this is on the other outer side, the furthest left and furthest right. So then I'm going to take that, and kind of like with distributive property, again, we're going to then add the product of whatever x and 4 is to our product here. Then we have an I. And what does the I stand for? Well, we've got outside. Next is going to be inside. So we're now going to multiply the inside terms. So 3 and 2x could be considered our inside terms. So if these were our outer terms, then these two are going to be our inner terms. So we're going to have the product now of 3 and 2x. So we're going to take that product. And then finally, if you can kind of see a pattern here, we've done first, we've done outside, we've done inside. Probably this one is going to be the last terms. So now we're going to look at the last terms. So if x and 2x were the first terms, 3 and 4 would be the last term. So the last term within each polynomial. So I'm going to have plus, and to that we're going to have the product of 3 and 4. So we've created 4 multiplication problems that we need to get a product for. And then if we can, we're going to combine like terms and simplify it as far down as we can go. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply what we did here, these first two terms, so x times 2x. So I remember my multiplying rules. I multiply the coefficients. Remember there's like an invisible 1 here, so 1 times 2 is 2. And then x times x, remember, is x to the second power because of those 1 exponents that are there but not really there. To that, I'm going to add the product of x times 4. X times 4, well, remember there's an invisible 1 there, so 1 times 4 is 4, and then just one single x. And then to that, we're going to add the product of 3 times 2x. So 3, multiply the coefficients, 3 and 2, which is 6, and then we just have 1x, so it's going to be 6x. And then finally, we're going to add to that our product of just 3 and 4, which is 12. So now I have this, I started here. We did this first step of making sure we distributed all of the terms to one another to multiply. We multiplied and we're here. So the final thing that we need to do is we need to see, can we combine any like terms? And so we have a 2x squared, but there's no other term that has an x squared. So it's just going to be left alone, so 2x squared. And then we have 4x. Do we have any other terms that just have x? We do right here. So I'm going to add 4x and 6x together. So 4 and 6 is 10. And then remember, it is 10x. It's not going to be 10x squared. we're not multiplying like we did up here. So up here we multiplied, which is why it's x squared. But down here we're just adding. So when we add the like terms together, we don't change the variable whatsoever. And then we just have the plus 12. And there is the final answer. Okay, let me do one more for you to make sure you you understand this. So let's say now I'm going to throw in some negative signs. So let's say in this example we have negative 5a minus 2. And to that we're going to multiply, I don't know, let's say 3a minus 4. I'm going crazy with the minus and negative signs. So again, I'm going to use my acronym here, a FOIL, to help me remember to multiply each term by itself. That's what it's here for. We don't want to miss anything. We don't want to miss a step of multiplying. So I'm going to first multiply the first two terms in each polynomial. So I'm going to take negative 5a and I'm going to multiply that by 3a. Then to that I'm going to add the product of the outside terms. So negative 5a and negative 4. So I'm going to take negative 5a times negative 4. Don't forget, this sign here is acting like a negative sign. So whatever sign is in front of the number or the term, you need to make sure you bring it down with it when you rewrite it. If you don't, you're going to get an incorrect answer and it's going to throw everything off. And then to that, I'm going to add the product of my inside terms. So again, I have a minus sign in front of the 2, so it's going to be negative 2 times a positive 3a. We don't need to write the plus sign for positive. We know it's positive. And then the final step is going to be to that, we're going to add the product of negative 2 and negative 4, our last terms in each polynomial, our last terms. So negative 2 times negative 4. So now that I've distributed everything, now I can actually start to solve this. So I'm going to have to make sure I remember my integer rules for multiplying when I have negative numbers. Remember, a negative and negative is a positive. Two positives make a positive, and then a negative times a positive makes a negative. If you're ever unsure, please make sure you use your calculator to double check your answer. So here, I'm going to take negative 5 times a positive 3. So negative times a positive makes a negative product, so negative 15. And then a times a is a squared. Over here, we then have negative 5a times negative 4. So negative 5 times negative 4, two negatives make a positive. So it's going to be a positive 20a. Don't forget the a. We don't want to leave that out. To that, we then have negative 2 times 3a. So negative 2, positive 3, that means my answer is going to be negative because the negative and positive are negative. So negative 6, and then again, I don't want to forget my a. And then I have negative 2 times negative 4. Again, two negatives make a positive, so it's going to be a positive 8. We might think we're done here, but we're not. We need to make sure, can we simplify this any further? And we can. These two middle terms will be able to be brought together. Almost always those two middle terms should be able to be brought together in some way. So we're going to have negative 15a squared, 20a minus 6a. So 20 minus 6 is 14. So it's going to be 14a. There's a little arrow there. And then we have plus 8 at the end. And that is it. So I hope this helped, showing you how to multiply polynomials using the FOIL method. There are plenty of videos online that also show how to do this. So if you're still not clear, maybe you want to check out one of those videos, you can go to YouTube, put in multiplying a binomial by a binomial, and a plethora of videos will appear. But also, you can always reach out and ask those clarifying questions if you need to. Hope this helps. See you soon.